watching Just the News. I'm Amata Balachandra. We start off today's bulletin with heat wave in India. Delhi saw a new record on Sunday with 49 degrees Celsius. Gurugram reported about 48 degrees Celsius, also the highest since May 1966. Now, it was not just the NCR region, but other parts of the country also, like Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh. All of these parts are experiencing heat wave conditions. IMD scientist Rajiv Kumar has told ANI, and I quote, "We have issued a red alert for Rajasthan for an intense spell of heat wave. Tomorrow it will be yellow alert. Similarly, we've issued an orange alert for Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Eastern Madhya Pradesh and Delhi." According to ANI, Delhi and other states in North India will get a respite from heat wave, however, for at least 4 days from Tuesday. Now, a heat wave is declared when the maximum temperature is over 40 degrees Celsius and at least 4.5 notches above normal. Now, here's why there's a respite. It's because the southwest monsoon has now arrived over the Andaman and Nicobar Islands today, 6 days ahead of its schedule. Now, the IMD in a statement has said, and I quote, "Conditions are favorable for further advance of southwest monsoon into some more parts of South Bay of Bengal, entire Andaman Sea and Andaman Islands, and some parts of East Central Bay of Bengal during next 2 to 3 days," end quote. Meanwhile, the IMD has also said that heavy to extremely heavy rainfall will take place in Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Kerala over the next 5 days. Yesterday, there was extremely heavy rainfall in Kerala yesterday and this morning, and there was a red alert in 5 districts. However, according to a latest report by Manorama, Kerala witnessed heavy rainfall and waterlogging in several parts on Sunday and Monday morning. The Indian Meteorological Department, however, withdrew that red alert issued in 5 districts after the rain subsided in several parts. Now, severe waterlogging was also reported in Kochi, and people living in low-lying areas have now been shifted. Meanwhile, in Assam has been battered with heavy rains as well. At least 3 people have died and 3 people have now gone missing, according to officials. Landslides have been reported in 12 villages. Flood situation in the state's Chacha district remains grim. According to reports, more than 57,000 people across 7 districts in Assam have been affected by rainfall. Moving away from this now to other news that's happening in the country, starting off with an update on the IndiGo story. A show cause notice has now been issued by the DGCA to IndiGo after a fact-finding committee found the airline staff prima facie violated regulations in denying boarding to a specially abled child at the Ranchi airport recently. Now, the airline had said that the boy was denied boarding as he was, and I quote, "visibly in panic," end quote. Now, the DGCA to this has now said, and I quote, "The committee has submitted its report. The proceedings of the committee were partly held in the open and partly in camera as per the request of the affected family. The findings of the committee prima facie indicate inappropriate handling of passengers by the IndiGo staff, thereby resulting in certain non-conformances with the applicable regulations," end quote. Now, if you remember, on the 7th of May, there was a video that went viral on Facebook. An IndiGo manager had not allowed a child to board a flight. According to the eyewitness who had posted this online, the airlines allegedly announced that the child was a flight risk. Now, the manager even compared the child's condition, teenage assertiveness, to that of drunken passengers, according to this post that was put up. The flight then departed for Hyderabad, leaving behind the child and their parents. Meanwhile, in Jammu and Kashmir, the Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha has said that Kashmiri Pandits will now be deployed in secure and safer district and Tehsil headquarters. This comes after Kashmiri Pandit Rahul Bhatt, who was a government employee, was shot by terrorists in Budgam. Now, the assurance came days after 350 PM package employees resigned in protest. There were protests, of course, after the death took place. There have been several attacks on migrants and Kashmiri Pandits over the last few months. Also in the news, Biological E has announced that it has reduced the price of its COVID vaccine Corbevax to 250 rupees from 840 rupees a dose, which is inclusive of goods and services tax for private vaccination centers. Now it would result in end users paying 400 rupees a dose, including taxes and administration charge as well. Previously, in private vaccination centers, the overall cost to end users of the vaccine was 990 rupees a dose, including taxes and administration charges. On to politics right now, starting off with what's happening in Kerala. AAP and Kerala-based 2020 announced a new alliance called People's Welfare Alliance. Now, the Election Commission of India has scheduled the by-election of Tripura Assembly constituency on the 31st of May, and votes will then be counted on the 3rd of June. This alliance comes ahead of that by-election. Also, former Finance Secretary Rajiv Kumar has now taken charge as the 25th Chief Election Commissioner of India. He will take over Sushil Chandra, who retired on the 14th of May. The first major task for Kumar, who will remain in post till the 2025 February, will be to hold the elections of the President and the Vice President slated for July-August. Also in the news, in Tripura, 11 MLAs, 9 from the ruling BJP and 2 of the IPFT were sworn in as cabinet ministers of the new Manik Saha-led government in Tripura. Now, former state BJP President Saha took oath on Sunday as a new chief minister, and former chief minister Biplab Deb had announced his resignation on Saturday. On to business news right now. The State Bank of India has raised its marginal cost of funds based lending rate, or MCLR, by 0.1% on all types of loans. This will come into effect from the 15th of May, and this essentially means that EMIs are going to go up. This comes after the Reserve Bank of India hiked repo rate by 40 basis points to 4.4%. The repo rate is the interest rate at which the central bank lends to commercial banks. Meanwhile, wheat prices have now surged to a new record high today after India decided to ban exports of the commodity as a heat wave hit production. Now, the price jumped to 435 euros per ton as the European market opened. Wheat prices had soared after the onset of Russia-Ukraine war, as Ukraine accounted for 12% of global exports. Meanwhile, in Delhi, this is what CNG prices are going to cost in Delhi-NCR. In Delhi, it's 73.61 rupees. In Noida, it's 76.17 rupees. And Gurugram, it's 81.94 rupees. And this is after CNG prices have been increased by 2 rupees in Delhi-NCR. In the meantime, petrol and diesel prices remain unchanged on the 38th day. On to international news, starting off with North Korea. Kim Jong Un, the North Korea's leader, has slammed North Korea's pandemic response and ordered the army to help distribute medicine. Now, more than 1 million people have been ill with what Pyongyang refers to as fever, and this is according to state media, despite leader Kim ordering nationwide lockdowns in a bid to slow the spread of the disease through unvaccinated population. Now, according to North Korea state media KCNA Watch, 8 more people have died in North Korea by what they're calling it as fever, and the total toll is at 50. Now, KCNA, however, did not say how many suspected infections had tested positive for COVID. Also in the news, an 18-year-old wearing military gear and live streaming with a helmet camera opened fire with a rifle at a supermarket in Buffalo, killing 10 people and wounding 3 others on Saturday. Authorities have now described it as a racially motivated, violent extremism. Now, police have said that he shot 11 black and 2 white victims before surrendering to authorities. He was live streaming this as well. Now, Buffalo mayor has said that the suspect arrived intending to take, and I quote, as many black lives as possible, end quote. Now, President Joe Biden addressed a crowd and said that, and I quote, hate that remains a stain on the soul of America, end quote. On to sports news now. Some tragic news came in on Saturday night. Former Australian cricketer Andrew Symonds died in a car crash. He was the sole passenger in the car. This comes months after the deaths of cricket legends Shane Warne and Rod Marsh. Now, Andrew Symonds was an all-rounder and played an important role in 2 World Cup winning squads. We leave you, however, with one piece of good news. Is also sport news. It was all of the news yesterday. Indian men's badminton team scripted history after defeating Indonesia 3-0 to win the Thomas Cup trophy. Now, Indonesia have won Thomas Cup 14 times so far. Lakshya Sen, Satvik Sairaj, Chirag Shetty and Kidambi Srikanth clinched stunning victories to help India script history. Now, Sports Minister Anurag Thakur announced a cash award of 1 crore rupees to the Indian men's badminton team. That brings us to the end of this bulletin. Thank you so much for watching. Before we wrap up, we're going to put up a video on the heat wave conditions in India, on what precautions you should be taking at this point, the do's and don'ts really. Do take a look at it and tell us what you think as well. Thank you so much for watching.